The drama surrounding the Indiana Fever's return to the playoffs in 2025 feels like something out of a sports film, one of those underdog stories that starts with heartbreak and ends with triumph. Nobody outside that locker room believed they could withstand the storm. 5 players lost to injury, a star player in Caitlin Clark gone after just 13 games. Rotation after rotation shredded until the roster looked less like a team and more like a revolving door of desperate replacements. For most franchises, that's the death sentence. For the Fever, it became the crucible that forged their identity. It didn't happen overnight. In the early weeks, Indiana looked shell-shocked. Clark's groin injury hit like a punch to the gut. She was the face of the rebuild, the playmaker who filled arenas, the one who was supposed to carry them from the shadows of irrelevance into the spotlight. Losing her wasn't just losing points on the scoreboard. It was losing belief. Fans who had started to dream again suddenly asked if they had dreamed too soon. Analysts wrote the season off as finished, and yet something inside that locker room held firm. They refused to fold. Stephanie White deserves more credit than anyone outside is giving her. Coaches are often judged by wins and losses, but leadership reveals itself when everything goes wrong. White didn't panic. She didn't try to cover up the adversity with false positivity either. She faced it head-on, simplified the system, and reminded her players that toughness and togetherness were the only way forward. No shortcuts, no excuses. And in that clarity, a new Fever was born. One by one, unlikely heroes emerged. Odyssey Sims flying in to stabilize the backcourt. Aerial Powers turning into a spark plug off the bench. Shea Petty hitting threes like she'd been there all along. Natasha Howard carving up defenses when Indiana needed inside scoring. This wasn't about one superstar anymore. It was about every woman who touched the court believing her role mattered. By the time August arrived, the narrative had flipped. What was once survival now looked like resilience, and that resilience hardened into something dangerous. The defining moment came in Washington. A 94-65 win over the Mystics, the kind of blowout nobody saw coming. That game wasn't just a victory. It was a declaration. Washington opened strong, trading buckets and making Indiana work for every possession. But by the third quarter, the Fever's defense locked in with a ferocity that suffocated the Mystics. They held them to just 9 points in the frame. 9. It was the kind of defensive stand that breaks an opponent's spirit, and from there the lead ballooned past 20, past 25, until the game felt less like competition and more like coronation. Everywhere you looked, someone stepped up. Natasha Howard dominated with 17 points, punishing the Mystics inside. Aliyah Boston delivered another double-double, 12 points and 11 rebounds, anchoring both ends of the floor. Aerial Powers poured in 15 off the bench, turning hustle into momentum. Shea Petty went a perfect 3 for 3 from deep. Lexi Hull chased loose balls like her life depended on it. Kelsey Mitchell, even on an off-shooting night, steadied the backcourt with her experience. By the final buzzer, 5 players had hit double figures. It wasn't just a win. It was proof of balance, proof of depth. Proof of identity, but the box score wasn't what had fans buzzing afterward. It was Aliyah Boston's words. Standing in front of microphones, still drenched in sweat from the clinching win, she spoke with the calm of someone who had carried more than her share of weight. "Never doubt yourself and what you're capable of," she told reporters. Simple words, but powerful. Her message wasn't just for the media. It was for her teammates, for her coaches, for every fan who had wondered how the Fever would survive without Caitlin Clark. That mindset, unshakable confidence born out of relentless adversity, became their mantra. Boston isn't loud. She doesn't brand herself as spicy, but her actions and her presence scream leadership. This season, she broke the franchise record with her 17th double-double. She now has 41 in just 2 years, turning consistency into dominance. What's more telling than the stats is the way her team plays when she's on the floor. She's the axis around which everything turns. Offense runs smoother when she's making quick passes out of the post. Defense stiffens when she's controlling the paint. And when a shot goes up, you can bet she'll be there to clean the glass. She's not just a center. She's the center of gravity. That's why the Fever feel more dangerous now than they did at full strength. The adversity forced everyone else to grow. Lexi Hull learned how to be a defensive stopper in crunch time. Aerial Powers rediscovered her scoring punch. Natasha Howard has become the veteran anchor. Kelsey Mitchell learned to carry games without deferring, and Boston emerged as the heartbeat. When Caitlin Clark returns next season, she'll be stepping into a locker room that isn't just built around her talent. It will be one forged by trial, hardened by setbacks, and ready to play championship basketball. The Fever haven't had a winning season since 2015. They haven't felt playoff basketball in Gainbridge Fieldhouse since 2016. Now, both are reality. They've secured the 7th seed, with a chance to climb higher depending on results. Their likely first-round opponents, Atlanta, Las Vegas, or Phoenix, are all formidable. The best-of-3 format means the Fever will have to win on the road. But here's the thing. This team has already shown it can beat those very opponents with the same short-handed roster they have now. They've done it without Clark, without Cunningham, without McDonald, without a stable rotation. Why should the playoffs scare them now? The atmosphere in the locker room after clinching said it all. Players celebrating, laughing, the kind of release you only feel after weeks of grinding against impossible odds. But even then, Boston reminded them the job wasn't finished. Enjoy the moment, but we have another game Tuesday. We have the playoffs coming. That balance of joy and business is what separates leaders from stars, and Boston is both. For the fans in Indiana, this playoff return isn't just a ticket to postseason basketball. It's a sign of something bigger. A culture is being built. The kind of culture that doesn't crack when stars fall, but instead finds new strength in the cracks. The kind of culture that doesn't depend on one name, but thrives on the collective. The kind of culture that wins now and promises even more when everyone is healthy. That's the real story of the 2025 Indiana Fever. A season that looked doomed turned into the start of a new era. They've already proven the critics wrong. They've already shown they can stand tall when the foundation shakes. And now, as they march into the playoffs, the question lingers. If this is what they can do short-handed, what happens when they're whole again? So now it's your turn. Do you believe this Indiana Fever squad has what it takes to shock the league in the postseason? Can Aliyah Boston's leadership and this next woman up mentality carry them past giants like Las Vegas or Phoenix? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're fired up for playoff basketball in Indiana, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of this journey. The Fever are back, and this story is just getting started.